Hey everyone, this is Mukesh Otwani once again from learn-mission.com. Today in this video, we'll talk about how to write your first script in Playwright using Java. Now, in the last video, we discussed already how to configure Playwright. So if you're completely new to this video, then obviously before you start, you need to do the basic setup. So I have a lengthy video, which is around 42 minutes, which will give you end-to-end what to configure and how you can get started with different browsers. But if you already have configured it, then let's go ahead and let's see how to write the first script. Now in the previous video, we have done this setup. So we created this project, we added one dependency, which is basically Playwright latest version that we have added, 1.47.0. And in the last class, what we did is we created one first test, okay? This is not the complete test, this is just to invoke the browser, capture the title. You will be getting a lot of knowledge from this video because throughout the video, we'll discuss a little insight about what is the timeout for verification, what is the timeout for elements, what if your browsers are not closing automatically, right? So many things we will see in this video, and after this you will be smart enough to write your first test with a Playwright, okay? So what I will do, I will go ahead and create our second program and I will say login logout test. I'm going to use public static void main in the first part of the video. In the second part of the video, I will show you that in case if you're using JUnit or TestNG, and if you want to use JUnit assertion, TestNG assertions, how you can get started. So what I will do, I will first show you the application that we will do. So you take any application, even if you want to automate your company application, please do that. The concept will remain same. So the first thing that we need to start our browser, right? So we have seen in the previous video, we need Playwright. Then we will be using create, and then as of now I need Chromium, right? And what we will do is we will launch. So right now, if you want to run in headless mode, by default it run in the headless mode, but if you don't want to run in headless mode, you will write new browser type, then launch options, and we will set headless to false. Now this method will return you the browser. So I will store this in a browser reference variable. Let me use browser. Now once we get this browser, we'll start with page. So I will say new page. This will return me page reference. Page. And I will say page, and let's import this page. So put mouse over, it will ask you to import. So for browser, again com.microsoft.playwright.browser. For page, it's coming from the same package, okay? Now we are good to go. So let me do the first thing is browse page.navigate, and which application we would want to navigate is this. Now we discussed that if you don't provide HTTP or HTTPS, it will not open the URLs. So make sure, depends whether it's HTTP or HTTPS, you pass the protocol. Now whenever you automate any application, the first thing that we do is we actually verify the title, URL, or maybe certain items, so that we'll make sure that we are landing on the right page, right? Now the moment I load this URL, I want to verify the title. Let's say Learn Automation Courses. This should be my title. One way to do this is you capture the title first. You will be getting a string. I would say title of the page, and then you can print. This is typically what we do, right? Once we get the string, now you can put TestNG assertion, JUnit assertion. Now interestingly, Playwright have introduce something called Playwright Assertions. So if you see this Playwright Assertions, and you can see it has multiple overloaded methods. So when I say overloaded method, if you notice, we have three assert that methods, right? Assert that API responses, assert that locator, assert that with page. Right now we have page, right? So the moment I say dot here, you can see I can verify the title. So let's say I want to verify the title, that it should be Learn Automation Courses. So Learn Automation courses. This is the title which I'm expecting. And let me remove this. Once we are done, I will say page.close, and I will also use browser.close. We are doing step by step. First, we want to launch and verify the page have this title or not. So let's execute this. And right now I'm using Chromium, but let's say if you want to use Firefox, WebKit, it's totally up to you. So it will start. Yes, started. And it was too fast. It started, verified and closed, right? Let me run it once again. So again, I execute it. Started, verified and closed. Now let's do one thing. If I make some changes, let's say I want to verify, it should be Learn Automation Courses by Mukesh Otwani. This is what I'm expecting as a title. Obviously, this time it will do the mismatch. And the moment it will do mismatch, let's see what happens. Now, let's wait. It started. And notice it's not closing. And it's not even throwing exception. It is throwing exception after 5 seconds. Now if you notice, it says exception in thread main, assertion failure error, page title expected to be Learn Automation Courses by Mukesh Otwani, but actually what it received, Learn Automation Courses. So it means actual versus expected, not matching, failed. Which exception? It says assertion failed error, not exception, it's error. This is interesting. It waited till 5000 millisecond, means 5 seconds. It means by default, let's say you're looking for certain assertions or expected conditions, 5 seconds it will keep on retrying. Within 5 seconds, if it is validated, good to go. But by this 5000 millisecond, which is 5 seconds, it is not able to verify, you will be getting assertion failure error. And you can see it keep on retrying, and after 5 seconds, it stopped. So please make a note somewhere that by default, Playwright assertion wait for 5 seconds. That is the first thing. And one more thing that you will notice here, the moment my test is getting failed, it is not closing my browser, right? Obviously because this got failed. So it is not moving here, it is not moving here, and it's not even closing my browser. So what we will do now, we will be using something called try and finally. Because what I want is basically every time even my test is getting failed, I want to close the browser. So you can see it's not allowing me to close until I terminate from here, right? So what I will do, I will keep this in a try and finally, so that even if my test fails, finally block will execute and it will close the browser. I want to ask one simple question to all of you. I want you to find out what is the difference between final, finally and finalize. Very famous question in interviews. So I want to know the answer, the difference between final, finally and finalize in Java. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, so let's do this. I will put try here. This complete block I will keep in try. I'm not catching the exception. I just want to release the resources. So I will keep it in the finally. That by any chance, if anything fails, it should come to finally. See, finally, interesting part, it will always execute no matter what. Even if you execute successfully, it will come to finally. Even if it fails, it will come to finally. So I will keep these two statements here. Now notice here, since now there's a scope, right? So I mentioned page here. So page can be accessed only till try. Similarly, browser is accessible only till try. So I will keep this outside the try, only the references. What I mean, I will keep this outside. Same thing I will do for page. Page also I will keep outside the try block. And I will refer here. Okay, so part 1 is done. Now coming back to elements. Now suppose I want to do login and then log out. So for login, I need to click on inspect. Now I can see I have multiple attributes here. So I can use name, I can use email, I can use placeholder, I can use email, which is ID actually here. So okay, what it says, we need to make it, okay, we need to initialize, it's a local variable, so please initialize to null. Now pay attention, now we will see how to interact with WebElements. You type page and now search for locator. You can pass locator here, and if you have options, okay, suppose you want to pass the locator options, we can do that. We will see this in the upcoming videos. As of now, I want to pass locator. Now let's say if I have ID, if I want to use ID, I can use hash and the ID, and now I want to fill. Fill means type. I want to type admin@email.com. Now execute this. It will start. Now it executed very fast. So what I will do, just to show you how it works, I will use something called wait for timeout. Please remember, this is only for debugging. What it does, it will wait for given timeout in millisecond. Note, it should be used only for debugging. So I will keep 3000, which is basically wait for 3 seconds, then do this. Real time you will not use this because auto waits are done automatically. It is to show you that it is actually doing the type. Or I can do something like this, that first you type, then wait for 3 seconds and then close the browser. It's going to start. It typed. Now since we are given wait for timeout, after say 3 seconds it will close. It's 3000 millisecond means 3 seconds. Now you can ask one question, Mukesh, what if this is invalid? For example, I'm looking for ID called Mukesh. Obviously this will not find this element, but I want to show you a very interesting point. Now if you execute this, it will start, it will try to find Mukesh, but notice it is not failing, and I will tell you why. Let it run completely, then I will tell you how exactly Playwright works behind the scene. So it's still not failing. Now this will be applicable for same like multiple elements as well. If Playwright is not able to find a particular element, it will keep on retrying. It will keep on retrying until that element is not available. And yes, here we go. This is exactly what I want to show you. Notice it says timeout error. Timeout 30,000 millisecond exceeded. It means it waited till 30 seconds, right? 30,000. So 30 seconds it waited. It was keep on trying. It was keep on trying, but within 30 seconds it could not find, and it gave me timeout error. So whenever you come across this, please make sure you see what is happening. It was waiting for locator, it could not find, and it failed. So for Playwright assertion, by default 5 seconds, but for elements, when it's trying to find element, it is not able to find, it will wait 30 seconds. So let me come back and change it to email 1. Now you can ask, can I use different locators? For example, I want to go with name. Do we have any name locator here? So what it says, you give selectors. Now I can generate XPath, or I can generate CSS selector, and I can pass here. For example, I want to generate one XPath and then I want to fill. Now I need to pass XPath here. How do I write XPath for this? I will simply say find an input tag where name equal to name email 1. You can also verify using selectors hub, right? Now suppose if I want to use XPath, I will write XPath equal to, and I will give my XPath here. So in the first one, I used ID directly. Now since we don't have direct expression for name, I used XPath, and let's run this. Get started. I typed and closed. Can I use CSS selector? Yes. So let's say if you want to convert this into a CSS selector. This is my CSS selector. So guys, I'm assuming that you're comfortable with XPath, you're comfortable with CSS selector. If not, please let me know. I have a dedicated videos which I recorded long back, how to write XPath, how to write CSS selector. I'm assuming you're comfortable. If not, then check out the link in the description or the first comment of this video. You will find dedicated videos. That video is quite old, but it's an evergreen video, so concept will remain same. Let's say the same thing I want to go with CSS. I will use CSS and fill email.com. Let me comment this and let me run again. So this time same thing with CSS selector. Perfect. It's typing, closing very fast. Now this is something very interesting. Playwright have introduced lot of different methods for different attributes. What I mean, if you notice, we have a placeholder. Playwright have introduced a direct locator for placeholder. In this case, the placeholder value is enter email, right? So if I say get by, you can see we have so many method that if you have alternate text, you can use get by alt text. If you have a label, you can use label. If I have a pattern placeholder, I can use placeholder. We can use role, test ID, text, title, and so on. Right now in this case we found placeholder, so I will use the placeholder, and again I will say dot fill. See, I'm giving you multiple options, so that depends on the application, you go with any locator. So we discussed ID, we discussed XPath, CSS. Right now we found placeholder, so I will continue with placeholder. Similarly, if I inspect this, I found placeholder for this particular field, right? So I will use page dot get by placeholder. Again I will use fill. So password for this application is admin123. Now the moment I scroll down, I can see sign in button. Again, multiple options. I can use type, class, XPath, or the text. I got the text here. So whenever you have text, don't give a second thought. Give page dot get by text. Give a text here and say dot click. So it will click. Okay, now once it is able to log in successfully, you will notice title is not changing, so we cannot keep that assertion. But if I keep on refreshing, every time you refresh a page, it says welcome, right? So you can verify this welcome message, or you can verify this cart button, manage button, or you can verify number of courses. Interesting part is, when you are on the login page, URL contains login, but when I log in successfully, it does not contain login. So multiple ways to keep assertion. I will verify this error message and I will show you how it works. One thing that you will notice, that it will fade away after 10 seconds. So I can use this selectors have amazing feature called turn on debugger. So it will turn on the debugger. It means now it will stop. It stopped after some time because I need to change the time here. So what I will do, I will keep the debugger time to 2 seconds. Let me inspect this. Go back to selector sub. Now refresh and I will start this debugger. Now you can see paused in debugger. It means now until I don't resume, I will be on the same page. So this is my message, and if you notice, it's a h4 tag, class is welcome message. So I can copy this class now. Now I will do one thing. I need to verify, right? So again, I will use playwright assertion. Playwright assertion dot assert that this second method says give me locator. It means first find that element. So how to find page dot locator? It says give me locator. What we copied? Class. For class we use dot, right? But what we need to assert, I'll say it should contains a text called welcome. So after login, immediately check, do we have welcome message? If yes, welcome message contains this welcome text or not. I'm giving partial. If you want to match with the exact text, you can do that. By any chance, if it is not available immediately, it will wait for 5 seconds. So same thing, if you notice, the moment you refresh, that message comes after 2 seconds. Okay, let me refresh. Yeah, it came after 2 seconds. So here Playwright gives you that flexibility. In Selenium, other times you have to use explicit wait, right? But here it will take care of this automatically. Now after that, let's say I want to click here and I want to click on sign out. So let's say I want to click on this. So again, inspect, and I can see I have an image which have source and I have this menu. So we have ALT, alternate text, right? So ALT is one of the attribute. Now can I use XPath here? Yes. Can I use CSS selector? Yes. Can I use alt? Yes. So I will say page dot get by alt text menu, and I will say click. Click here, and now I can see text sign out. So easy. If you want to write XPath using text, you can do that. Since Playwright have this direct call get by text, and say click. Now the moment I do sign out, I need to verify that I came to the login page. See, we cannot directly believe, right? We need to put assertion. So I will check title should contain login. Sorry, not title, URL. So again, what I can do, same thing, playwright assertions dot assert that page URL. Page dot URL will capture the URL. Or you can just say has URL. Now if you want to give the exact URL, you can provide the exact URL like this. But in real time, what you do is you find a pattern. So it's a pattern dot compile login. That make sure the page have a URL, and URL should contain login. That's all. Now execute this. It should start. Okay. So it failed, and let's see, because every failure will give you feedback, guys. So please, you should be happy when you're getting exception, because when you get exception, you will realize that what happened, right? You will get some solutions, you will get some fixes that will add a lot of values. And this is exactly what happened. Now try to read this. It says exception in thread main, find exception. It says the locator that I passed, it resolved to 2 elements, and it is actually giving me the first element is basically your heading. The second element is your button. What I mean, we gave a text, right? That enter username, enter password, and look for a text called sign in. It found this sign in and this sign in. So it says it is able to find 2 elements. So it got confused. Should I use this or should I use this? So there are two solutions. The solution number one is try to find a unique locator so that it should match with one, or I will show you one interesting feature by Playwright. If it is resolving to multiple elements, you can use one method called nth. Nth means if the locator that you pass is giving me multiple web elements, you can pass indexes. If I pass 0, 0 will focus here. Since I have 2, I will go with 1. This is one of the option. Or if you want to try, you can also say dot last. It should be click. It means it is getting 2, right? So 0, 1. When I say last, it means the second element. So either you go with this or go with this. So I will again run this. This time, let's see if we get any other exceptions, we'll fix it. Every failure is a feedback, okay? And here we go. It verified everything and no issues. This assertion got passed, this assertion got passed, and this assertion got passed. And it executed with Chromium. What about Firefox? Let's try with Firefox. Execute. Yes, it's taking some time to launch, and yes, it started. It's coming actually on this screen, and it worked for Firefox. What about WebKit? I will change this to WebKit. Execute. See, we need to make sure that it is working fine across all the browsers. So now WebKit will start. It did log in, sign out. So we are able to successfully log in, log out with 3 different browsers. We have faced a couple of exceptions. We have seen multiple fixes. Now one thing which I want to show you, those who are waiting till then, for you there's a bonus. Now notice it is running so fast that sometimes it can create issues. So if you want to slow down the execution, you can use one additional method called set slow motion. Now slow motion means by default, suppose you have 100 elements, it goes very fast, right? I want to say that after every event, wait for 1 second or 0.5 second or 0.2 second. We can provide the time. For example, I can say set slow motion to maybe 500 millisecond, or let's try with 1 second. Then I will reduce to 500, or maybe I will remove this. Execute again. So set slow motion is optional, but sometimes if you want to see 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, now this, then this, and this. So this can actually help you, like if you don't want to run too fast, you can set slow motion. Now as I mentioned, there's a bonus again, that suppose by default you don't want to go with Playwright Assertion, which I would recommend first to give a try. By any chance, if you don't want to use Playwright Assertion, you can use TestNG assert or JUnit assert. So for this, I will do one thing. I will quickly go to MN repository. I will look for TestNG. I'm going to configure TestNG. So I will go with the latest version 7.10.2, and I will add one more dependency. Important point, right now scope is test. It means I can access only in SRC test Java. But let's say you want to use an SRC main Java, please remove the scope. As of now, I'm already in SRC test Java. So I will create a copy of this. Instead of 2, I will rename this to login logout with TestNG. Finish. Instead of public static void main, I will use @test annotation. So instead of main method, I will say login test, and I will use @test annotation, which is coming from TestNG. Now suppose this part I want to replace with TestNG assertion. So what I will do, first of all, I will use assert. Assert is a class which is coming from TestNG. I will say assert true. Assert true says give me condition, and the second method says give me condition and the message. So I will say page dot title contains learn automation courses. So if I don't want to write this, I can say assert true, capture the title, which will be a string. If that string contains this, I will return, it will get true. If assert true will get true, it will pass. Otherwise it will fail. But there is one important part. As I mentioned, Playwright Assertions by default wait for 5 seconds. This does not come with any wait here. It will try to find immediately. If it is not able to find, it will fail. So please make a note here. So I will execute this. And for you, the assignment would be convert this with TestNG, convert this also with TestNG. Now, as I mentioned, you need to install one plugin, okay, in order to run. So if I right click and see, I don't have run configuration. Why? Because TestNG plugin is missing. So I will quickly install TestNG plugin also from Eclipse Marketplace. So this is my marketplace. Search for TestNG. Okay, we got this plugin. Click on install. That will wait for a few seconds. It is resolving the features. Yes, so click on confirm. Accept the agreement. Click on finish. Now with the recent versions of Eclipse, it will ask you to accept the certificate, trust all the certificate. So that also will do quickly. Okay, in the meanwhile, please let me know how do you find these features, this auto wait and so on, so that I will make more videos on this. Now it will be asking you trust authorities. So say always trust all authorities. Yes, I accept the risk. Trust selected. Again, select all, always trust all content. Yes, I accept the risk. Trust selected. And it is asking me to restart. So I will say restart now. So after restart, again come back, open the third class. This is log in log out TestNG. Scroll up. Now you can see this run option. I can click on this run. And yes, it detected 7.10.2. Started with WebKit. And done. So TestNG assertion is working along with Playwright assertion. And it's taking some time. So let me remove this slow motion. And let me change back to Chromium. And one last execution. It should be fast. Yes. So that's all about today. I hope you enjoyed the session. If you got some insight, please share this with your colleagues who are learning Playwright with Java. And if this video helped you in any manner, then do support this channel. Share this video with your friends, colleagues, subscribe this channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. As an assignment, what you can do, first convert all this Playwright assertion to TestNG assertions. If you want to try more scenarios, what you can do, first don't enter any details and verify the message should be this. Email and password required. Second thing that you can try, that enter the username but don't enter the password, and make sure this field is coming. Now do the reverse. Remove username, keep password, and it should give you this message. And if you give some random email with random password, it should throw user email does not exist. So try the sample scenario, try the login logout which I told you. In the next upcoming videos, we'll talk about end-to-end scenarios, how to automate a registration page, end-to-end scenarios. Yeah, so thank you so much. Best of luck and see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.